The story kicks off by introducing us to a girl named Tree, who is sleeping in her college dorm room. In reality, she had knocked back quite a few drinks at a college bash the night before, which is why Carter, a junior student from the same college, brought her to his place. She is awakened by her phone ringing, which happens to be her dad's call, but she chooses not to answer. The ringtone reveals that it's her birthday today. She finds herself completely blank about the previous night, thanks to the effects of the alcohol. She thinks that she and Carter had been clapping the previous night, so she tells him to keep it a secret. Right at that moment, Carter's friend bursts in shouting, "Dude, did you score with that hot girl?" Upon witnessing this, Tree gives Carter a sarcastic smile and leaves the room. She starts heading home, experiencing a severe headache. Suddenly, Tim, someone she had previously been on a date with, appears in front of her. Tree bluntly informs him that she's not interested in him and that their date was incredibly dull and dreadful. Finally, after arriving home, Tree is greeted by her sister, who raises concerns about whether Tree used the protection or not during her night out. Tree responds by saying yes and proceeds to her room. There, Tree's roommate Lori reveals that Tree caused quite a scene the previous night due to drunkenness. Afterward, Lori wishes Tree a happy birthday, presenting her with a cupcake. However, Tree throws the cake into the trash bin, saying that she doesn't want to gain weight. In reality, Tree's behavior displays a consistent pattern of rudeness and self-centeredness. As Tree arrives at her college, where a group discussion is taking place. In the middle of the discussion, a student brings food for herself, which infuriates the leader of the group. Just as she decides to leave with the food, Carter arrives and accidentally bumps into the girl, causing the food to spill all over Tree. It turns out Carter had come to return Tree's bracelet, which she had left behind in the dorm room. Later, after college, Tree visits the hospital and encounters Lori, who happens to work there as a nurse. In reality, Tree has an affair with Gregory, a doctor, who is also a professor in Tree's college, and is already married. Lori advises her to stop seeing Gregory, pointing out that she is destroying someone's married life. However, Tree disregards Lori's advice and proceeds to Gregory's office. Tree and Gregory both starts enjoying each other, but their moment is interrupted when Gregory's wife unexpectedly arrives at the door. In a desperate attempt to cover up their affair, Gregory lies, claiming that Tree is merely his student. Later in the evening, Tree is on her way to her birthday party while listening to a voice message from her dad. He mentions waiting for her at a restaurant for an hour, but she ignores it. Along her way, she enters a tunnel and comes across a toy in the middle of the road, playing a birthday song. Intrigued, she approaches the toy, thinking that it's a surprise from her friends, but suddenly she hears a voice behind her and turns around to find a person wearing a mask standing there. Tree attempts to communicate with the individual but receives no response, causing her to feel a sense of fear and threatening to call the police. Upon hearing this, the masked man quickly leaves. As Tree begins to walk away, the toy behind her starts playing once again. She turns back, but just then masked man jumps in front of her, triggering her panic and leading her to flee. Unfortunately, despite her attempts to escape, the masked man catches up to her and ultimately kills her. Just after a second, Tree again wakes up from her sleep. To her surprise, she finds herself back in the exact same location where she had woken up that morning, with her phone ringing. Overwhelmed and disoriented, she struggles to comprehend the situation. Her attention is caught by a sticker on the door that reads, "Today is the first day of the rest of your life." Perplexed, Tree asks Carter today's date, to which he responds, Monday 18th, which happens to be the same date when she first woke up from her sleep. She becomes quite confused and decides to head to the home. On her way to home, she witnesses the same series of events unfolding before her, mirroring her previous experiences. She shares her bewildering encounter with her sister, but her sister dismisses it as a mere case of déjà vu, attributing it to a trick of the mind. Once again, Tree's roommate cheerfully wishes her a happy birthday, which feels strange to Tree since it has already happened before. This time, she doesn't throw the cake in the dustbin, instead leaves it on the table before walking away. The same series of events repeat at college as well, including the group discussion and Carter's accidental collision. After college, she heads towards to Gregory's office, not seeking pleasure this time, but rather to confront him about her extreme déjà vu experiences. However, before she can speak anything, Gregory interrupts, stating that he knows what she wants to say and attempts to normalize her feelings, attributing them to an attraction towards an older person. Tree insists that she doesn't love him, and is doing with him just for fun. Upon hearing this, Gregory starts kissing her. Just then, Gregory's wife arrives at the door, but this time Tree had already anticipated the situation and locked the door beforehand, using the knowledge gained from her previous encounters. Then Tree is again on her way to party at night. Upon reaching the tunnel, she finds the same toy, playing the birthday song in the middle of the road. This sight scares Tree, and she decides to take a different route and continues on to the party. When she arrives at the party location, she finds it strange because the house appears completely empty and devoid of any party atmosphere. However, she gathers the courage to knock on the door. Suddenly, the masked man opens the door, causing Tree to become scared and instinctively punch him. However, it turns out to be just a birthday surprise by her friends. As Tree and her sister are enjoying the party, Nick, the same guy who had been punched a few minutes ago, arrives, and starts flirting with them. With a sly gesture, Nick discreetly signals Tree to join him privately. However, he completely ignores Tree's sister, who happens to be already impressed by Nick and laughing at his stupid jokes. Tree then follows Nick into a room where he starts enjoying on loud music. Suddenly, the masked man appears in the room and kills Nick before killing Tree as well. The day resets yet again. Tree finds herself back in the same place. She is now filled with immense fear and is extremely confused what is happening. She immediately rushes home and confesses about her experiences to Lori. However, Lori finds it hard to believe her words and advises her to skip the college today, suggesting she should take rest at home instead. Tree finds the idea appealing and decides to skip the college. She secures the room completely by barricading all the windows and doors. With a sigh of relief, Tree settles down comfortably, ready to savor the cake gifted by Lori. However, she is abruptly interrupted by an overwhelming urge to find the TV remote. While searching for it, her gaze falls upon a birthday card lovingly created by her sister. Opening the card, she is met with a chilling sight, an image of the same masked figure, accompanied by the haunting words, "Enjoy today because there is no tomorrow." This sight fills Tree with fear as she gets unsettling intuition that someone is in the room. As if on cue, the masked man emerges from the washroom, attacks and eventually kills her. The day resets once again, plunging Tree into a state of extreme irritation and confusion. Unable to grasp the reality of her situation, she dashes outside, her mind clouded with hallucinations. Just then, Carter appears from behind, carrying Tree's belongings that she had left in the dorm. Overwhelmed with a desperate need for support, Tree hugs him tightly, finding solace in his presence. They both then go to a restaurant, where Tree opens up and shares her bewildering story with Carter. While Carter finds it difficult to believe her, he still provides a suggestion that piques Tree's interest, an idea to compile a list of potential suspects who might harbor ill intentions towards her. Utilizing the unlimited resets of the day as an advantage, she could keep an eye on them, and ultimately identifying the person behind the mask. Impressed by Carter's suggestion, Tree expresses her gratitude for his support. In the course of their conversation, Tree also discovers that she and Carter did not engage in any sexual encounter the previous night. Instead, Carter slept on his friend's bed. As per the plan, Tree keeps a close watch on all her suspects, methodically eliminating their names from the list. Despite facing death repeatedly, she maintains her unwavering determination to uncover the truth. Over time, the cycle of dying and resetting becomes a familiar routine for Tree, and she develops a remarkable fearlessness in the face of mortality. Such is her confidence that one day she even ventures outside completely naked, knowing that the memory of her actions will be erased with each reset. One morning, as the day resets again, Tree wakes up with a severe headache and dizziness only to pass out. Carter rushes her to the hospital where Gregory also arrives to visit her. He presents her with medical reports that indicate she should not be alive based on the report findings. Gregory himself is surprised of how Tree is still alive. It becomes evident that the repercussions of past injuries are catching up to her, weakening her with each subsequent death. The only way for Tree to prevent this is to break the cycle by making it alive to the next day. After Gregory leaves the room, Tree seizes the opportunity to formulate a plan. She decides to steal Gregory's car and make her escape from the city. As she embarks on her getaway, Gregory unexpectedly appears before her, trying to stop her, but suddenly the masked man emerges from behind and kills Gregory. This triggers a chaotic chase and intense struggle between Tree and her relentless pursuer. Against all odds, Tree ultimately manages to elude the masked man and successfully escapes in a car, leaving the scene behind. Filled with a sense of happiness, she accelerates the car at a high speed, knowing that now she can enter the next day. However, her reckless driving catches the attention of the police, who swiftly pursue and manage to pull her over. Nevertheless, Tree believes that she will be even safer in jail, willingly complies and enters the police car. But suddenly, the masked man comes barreling in a speeding car, ruthlessly running over the officer. Witnessing this horrifying turn, Tree's hope is instantly shattered once again, and the masked man proceeds to kill her by causing a fatal explosion in the car. As the day resets once more, Carter inquires if Tree had a bad dream. Tree confirms that she was dying once again. Confused, Carter fails to grasp the meaning behind her words. Tree remarks him that it's a long story. Intrigued, Carter decides to accompany her, urging her to share the story. Tree recounts her experiences, but Carter finds it hard to believe. To convince him, Tree accurately predicts future events around them, leaving Carter surprised and ultimately believing her story. Then together they go to a restaurant where Tree contemplates her life and realizes how selfish and rude she has been. Carter imparts his wisdom, sharing that anyone can choose to change for the better at any given moment. Encouraging her to rectify her past mistakes, he inspires Tree to embrace kindness and humbleness in her heart. After a while, Tree's attention is captured by a television in a restaurant, broadcasting a news segment about a notorious serial killer named Joseph, who has taken lives of 6 women and is currently undergoing treatment in a hospital. Tree's memory is triggered as she recalls her previous encounter with Joseph in the hospital. She suspects that he is the one behind the mask, and rushes to the hospital, gripping a hammer tightly, determined to end Joseph's reign of terror. Upon entering Joseph's room, she finds a security guard lying dead on the ground. Suddenly, the masked man attacks Tree from behind, engaging Tree in a fierce struggle for survival. As she fights to escape, Tree finds herself trapped with no way out. The masked man unveils himself and is about to kill Tree, but suddenly Carter enters in the scene, trying to save Tree. However, Joseph kills Carter instead. In a desperate move, Tree takes advantage of the moment and injures Joseph, and is on the brink of killing him. But suddenly, she realizes that if she doesn't reset the day, Carter will remain dead forever. Therefore, she spares Joseph, saying "see you soon," and willingly hangs herself to reset the timeline. After waking up again, Tree hugs Carter tightly, grateful for his previous efforts to save her life. Filled with a newfound sense of relief, Tree is very happy because she has solved the mystery and is finally going to escape from this ordeal. Determined to set things right, she confronts Gregory and ends their relationship. Later, during a group meeting at college, when Carter approaches her with a bracelet, Tree seizes the moment, planting a kiss on his lips as a token of her affection. As the night falls, Tree prepares herself completely to kill Joseph, and successfully executes her plan by killing him in the hospital. Afterwards, Tree happily celebrates her birthday with Carter, enjoying the cake given by Lori. Surprisingly, the day resets yet again, plunging Tree into deep frustration and panic. Determined to escape her relentless cycle, she begins packing her bags, preparing to leave far away from here. When Lori brings her a cake, Tree declines it, saying that she had already eaten it the previous night. Suddenly, a shocking realization dawns upon her: the cake she had ingested before was laced with poison, leading to her demise during her slumber. She concludes that Lori is the one who tried to kill her by poisoning the cupcake. However, since Tree had never consumed it, Lori attempted alternative methods to kill her. Also, Joseph was just a pawn manipulated by Lori. She tempted him with drugs and provided him with a weapon to kill the security guard and escape, and when Lori kills Tree, Joseph will automatically become the prime suspect for Tree's murder. Lori initially acts innocent, but under questioning, she eventually confesses to poisoning the cupcake. Her sole motive for wanting to kill Tree stems from Gregory's preference for Tree over Lori. The fight ensues between the two, and eventually Tree kicks Lori out of the window, resulting in Lori's demise. The incident draws the attention of both the police and the media, who swiftly arrive at the scene. Meanwhile, Tree and Carter observe the unfolding events on a television at a nearby restaurant. Carter suggests that Tree spend the night in his dorm room, given that her own bedroom has now become a crime scene. Tree readily agrees, as her feelings for Carter have grown stronger. The following morning, Tree wakes up only to realize that the day has reset once again, leaving her utterly devastated. However, Carter reveals that it was all just a prank, and today is in fact Tuesday 19th, indicating the loop is finally over. Overwhelmed with relief, Tree and Carter share a kiss, and with this scene, movie comes to an end. The IMDb rating of this movie is 6.6, but I'll give it a 5.8. If you like the explanation, please consider subscribing the channel. See you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.